Hey guys, what's going on? This is Chris Durham, and this is
Derek Neff.
with Fathom Realty. Derek Neff is also known as the Property Hunter. He hit the target every single time.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. All right, so today we're coming to you guys. We're going to go ahead and go over a few things, guys. Obviously, this is our first video of many videos to come, but today we just want to go over and talk about what is a good realtor, right? Because to be honest with you, there's thousands of realtors, and not all of them are made the same. So, there, you got anything to say about a good realtor?
Yeah, I mean, just because somebody holds a real estate license doesn't qualify them as a good realtor. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of details involved in what it takes to be a good realtor. So we just wanted to go over some points today, just to keep you guys informed, and that's kind of our goal here, is just to keep you guys informed about the real estate market and about helping you make the best decision possible.
Awesome. So we're going to kind of go back and forth, maybe share one point each. But the first thing with a good realtor, obviously, if you're looking, it depends, are they knowing what type of agent they are, right? Because some agents do specialize in being a buyer's agent or a listing agent, right? But besides that, having someone that's going to be communicating with you throughout the whole transaction, whether you're selling a house or buying a house, because there's a lot of realtors, basically, as soon as they get the deal, you won't hear from them again. Right? You want to know what's going on with your loan, right? They should be communicating not only with you, but with your lender. They should be communicating with title, and they should be updating you hopefully at least every week, or at least when something new is coming out. So when your file goes through the approval process of the loan, when title comes back, and that way you're up to date. Because guess what? Buying a home, it could be pretty stressful, right? We're both homeowners here, and we've both been through the process of buying a home, and we've helped a lot of other people buy homes. And especially if this is your first home, it's a big purchase, probably one of the biggest purchases you're going to make in your life. And honestly, it brings in a lot of stress, a lot of emotions, because this could be your forever home. This is a home that you're moving into with your family, with your children, whatever the case may be. It's not a small thing you're doing, and so you want to make sure that you know what's going on every step of the way. You got anything to share with me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Communication is definitely key, because there are certain points in the contract that have deadlines. For example, one is being the loan commitment period. So the loan commitment period is basically you have until that time to have your baseline approval from your mortgage lender. Now, if your realtor doesn't keep you informed about that deadline, and you end up missing that, the seller could walk away with your earnest money deposit. And that could be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. I mean, you could lose that on big money just because of that one little minor detail of lack of communication.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which brings us to another thing, being organized. Right, you want to make sure you have a realtor that's organized. Like he said, with losing an earnest money deposit, that's not a small chunk of change, especially if you're maybe a first-time home buyer, maybe you're going through FHA. You just saved up every bit of money you can so you could buy your family a nice house. And so you want a realtor that knows what's going on at all the time, right? So you want them to be knowledgeable in the home selling process and home buying process. And he makes sure that they're knowledgeable in the contract. So make sure they review a contract with you. You're going to sign a contract with a realtor, especially if you're going to the house. Make sure they are going through that with you. They're going through all the details, at least the most important details in there, especially those deadlines, like Derek said, are super important deadlines to meet. And if you don't meet them, or he forgets about them, you could easily lose 5, 10, 15, 20 grand, depending on what you put down as a deposit to basically hold your spot to buy that house.
Absolutely.
So you got anything else on there?
No, I'm good with that bullet point.
Awesome. And then another thing too, and this isn't going to be so much what makes a good realtor, but having local neighborhood knowledge, right? Because you could have two good realtors in two different neighborhoods. Doesn't mean, so you could have realtor A, we're in Palm Beach, Florida, right? I focus more on rural Palm Beach. Derek focuses more on Loxahatchee. All right, he's gonna know more about the market out in Loxahatchee because that's where he focuses. That's actually where he lives. I'm gonna know a little bit more about rural Palm. So sometimes using a local realtor is gonna be to your advantage. Why? Because they're gonna know how the market is. They're gonna know how many people are usually seeing homes. They're gonna know how fast those homes are going off the market, how fast they get under contract, how fast they're sold, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're using, I know a lot of people like to use their cousin who lives 2 hours away. Well, guess what? Usually those realtors, even if they're the best realtor in that area, might not have the time to show you properties. right? They might not know the market. They don't know how competitive it is in that actual market. So having a good realtor is not always based on skill set, but also based on just the knowledge of the local market that they service and the local market that you're looking to buy.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So you have anything on your list there, Derek?
No, I'm just agreeing with what you're saying.
Awesome. Another one we have here too is, I think probably one of the most important ones is just a realtor that actually cares about you. In the grand scheme of things, obviously we do this to get paid, right? We have families, we have children that we want to, put food on the table. But doing this for many years now, I've learned that it's really putting the clients first and putting their needs above my commission and anything else that might go wrong, because there's so many different moving parts to a real estate transaction, and you want someone that actually cares, because they're going to go above and beyond to make sure the deal goes through, even if there happens to be issues, because like I said, real estate, you never know what's going to happen. And there's a lot of realtors who, honestly, you're just a number in their book. They're not going to go above and beyond, do something that technically a realtor doesn't do. I'm gonna let Derek tell you his story. This man, he is skilled in a lot of different things. He'll tell you a story about his latest client.
So I have a few interesting deals going on currently. So one of the things about being a good realtor too is you want your realtor to be there for both the inspection and the appraisal, because those are two very important events in the related to the transaction. But also too, a really good realtor is going to do whatever they can within their power to make sure this deal closes. And there's been a few deals where I've had fences that weren't permitted that were going to hold up, and they had active code violations on them. So I had to hire a bobcat operator and some laborers and get dumpsters dropped off to get this fence taken out. And not only that, I also had to find a lawn crew to take care of the yard while the transaction is going on, because the seller wasn't able to get the grass cut. And that's another thing about being a good realtor too, is you want your realtor to be a resourceful person, instead of them just saying, I don't think I can help you with that. A good realtor is going to do whatever they can and reach into their little bag of tricks, pull out whatever they can to help make the transaction go as smoothly as possible for you. And you just want to have a good realtor that's resourceful. And those two code violations on that property, there was no way that we would have been able to close with those open violations. And without being able to solve that problem, we would have been stuck. And I'm just glad I was able to have the ability and the relationships to be able to get that done for him.
Absolutely, and I think that brings us back to the other point of being local, right? Because you knew the people who to call, you knew who you could hire, you knew where you could get all these materials. Whereas someone who's out of town, most contractors are not going to drive over an hour to go do some work, right? There's plenty of work for contractors in this day and age for them to stay local.
Absolutely.
And if they are, it's probably going to have to be pushed back, at a really late date, basically hold up the deal. A realtor who cares and is going to have those connections with local contractors, local vendors, local workers, so you definitely want to make sure that your realtor is well connected, right? That they know roofers, especially if you're selling your house and your house needs some work. If you're buying, you want to know that he knows, some lenders, local lenders. I feel like are the best because they understand the mortgage process in the county which they're servicing. Just all those little things that you might not even think about are very important. So what would you give advice for them when they're looking for a realtor? What questions should they ask a realtor in general?
I would ask them, why are you in real estate? I think that's a main question to ask, because a lot of people get the real estate license and they think they're going to be HGTV millionaires overnight. And that's not how it is. But I would just ask them what their motivation is. And I firmly believe that whatever industry you're in, to be effective at it and to be good, your heart needs to be in it. It just makes you that much better.
Absolutely. So why are you in it?
Because I love it.
So another good thing, another characteristic of a good realtor is they know how to listen. right? It's a big thing. I think a lot of realtors, this is, we're either selling or buying a house, but we're not really trying to sell you a product. We're trying to find you what you're looking for, right? So if you're listing your house, there's a reason you're listing your house, right? Maybe you're moving, maybe you're getting relocated for work, whatever it is, you're retiring. There could be a slew of reasons, right? Don't want this out anyway. It could be a divorce. And it's important that you have a realtor that understands your personal situation, right? Because not every sale is going to be exactly the same. Now maybe it's an investment property, all right? And so every situation is going to be the same. So you want a realtor who's going to listen to you, listen to what you want, and not what they think is best for you, right? Because at the end of the day, you know you more than anyone else knows you, right? If you're a buyer, you kind of know where you want to live. You have an idea what you want for your family. It would be horrible if you told your realtor exactly what you wanted, that they began to show you homes of everything that did not match your criteria. And so you want to have someone that's open ears, right? Now that goes back to a realtor who cares, because a realtor who does care is going to listen to you. He's going to listen to you what your wants and needs, and he's going to be honest with you. I think did we talk about honesty?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, so now we're just going to segue into honesty, right? Because you want a realtor who's going to be honest with you, right? Because there's a lot of people who can sell you a dream, and we want to help people reach their dreams, right? Especially with home ownership. But there's also some realities as well that we have to deal with when it comes to buying a house, right? You have to get pre-approved, right? It's a loan process you have to go through, right? So obviously you can only buy a house of what you're pre-approved for. And in Palm Beach County, in this market, the prices are going up. So you want someone who's gonna be honest with you. He's not gonna just kind of drag you along, and say, hey, listen, this is the reality of where you can be at. Is this something you're comfortable with? If not, maybe a good realtor is gonna say, hey, listen, maybe this isn't the right time for you to buy. Maybe you should wait a year, right? If someone tells you, a realtor tells you to wait, go. You might want to wait because he's looking at you. Because trust me, any realtor wants to put you in a house as soon as possible so they could collect their commission check after they close on the house, right? But a good realtor is going to say, hey, this isn't about me. We want you to get a house, but we also want you to be happy with what you're going to buy. And so sometimes the best option is to wait. I've had a lot of clients who decided to wait. I've had clients first-time home buyers who were going to rent, and I told, listen, you're so close to being able to buy a house. They actually moved back in with their folks for a few months, and within 5-6 months, they were able to buy a house. And so it's not always about the immediate sale, trying to get you into a house as soon as possible, but trying to get you into a house where you're going to be comfortable financially and comfortable with what you're buying and where you're living at as well. So
Yeah, so you don't want to deal with a high pressure salesman, because then you're going to be felt like you're forced to make a decision that you don't want to make. I mean, I remember one time my wife and I went to go buy a car, and we had looked at a specific model, but it was a specific model we wanted, but it wasn't like the trim that we wanted, so we weren't going to go that route. And this salesman that we were dealing with, we told him we were looking for that model, but not that trim. Well, he went ahead and pulled that car up, opened all the doors, and said, hey, let's go for a test drive. And I'm like, guy, I just told you I didn't want that car. It's like, so you don't want somebody doing that to you with a home, making you feel like, oh, we got to put in an offer on this right now. What do you guys think? You don't want to be pressured into making a decision that you feel like you're going to regret later. So just, you need to be with somebody that you can trust that's going to kind of, I wouldn't say gently, but firmly, but understandably guide you through that process.
yeah, absolutely. So I think a good realtor is going to ask you a lot of questions too. And they're going to listen to your response. And I know the other one that we have that makes a good realtor, it's a realtor who's working full time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yeah, so a full time. There's a lot of people who get into this business part time, and some people are looking to move full time. But there's negatives for a realtor who's working part time. Maybe a cousin, an uncle, an aunt, something who's working part time, right? They have a full time job. Well, it's going to be hard for them to really be devoted to you. And I know because I started, and it's hard for me to say this because I started in real estate part time, and now and I was able to get to a place where I was able to go full time. But to be honest with you, the time I could give my clients was negligible. Right, because I couldn't show them houses when they needed to see houses because I was working. I couldn't answer phone calls when they called me or when the lender called me. I couldn't get paper in as fast. And in this competitive market, sometimes time is of the essence. I mean, in this market, a house goes on the market, and within a day or two, they have 4, 5, 6, 7 offers already. And you want to have a realtor who's going to have the time to be able to show you the property, schedule showings, and then especially write and then deliver an offer for that. And if you're a seller as well, you want someone who's going to be available because to show your house, to have open houses, to be at the inspections, right? You should be a realtor should, like Derek was saying, should be at an inspection, whether you're the seller or the buyer. The realtor should be there so they can kind of deal with things head on. When a situation arises or if a bad inspection comes in, and they could guide you in the best ways to maneuver that situation. You got anything to say about that, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, being full time definitely helps out a lot because I've experienced a couple of issues that have arise during a transaction, and they required immediate attention, and if they didn't get immediate attention, the whole deal would go boom. So it's having a part-time realtor, you're taking a risk like that about basically losing out on your dream home. If you have an issue that pops up and he can't resolve it right away, there is a risk there that you could end up losing out. So definitely having a full-time realtor who's fully devoted to his real estate business is definitely the best way to go.
Awesome. I think that's basically everything that covers a good realtor. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things we could talk about, but just for sake of time, we want to go over some of the big ones. Obviously there's just knowledge, time and experience in the market, but I think some of these other things are even more important than that because, just because someone's been a realtor for a long time doesn't really mean they're good. It just means they've been a realtor for a long time. They might be only doing 2 to 3 deals a year, 6 deals a year. And you could have a new agent who's doing 10, 20, 30 deals a year because they're more motivated and and hungry and they're out helping their clients a whole lot more at the end of the day. But I think, like I said, we talked about caring for the client, caring for you, being honest, being a good listener, having a full-time agent, someone who's going to be able to be with you all the time. And maybe you have someone that's a part-time agent and you really want to work with them. Cool, but make sure they have maybe their broker or someone else who can help them along the way too, so they have a backup for when you need some fast assistance. All right, so make sure they have a good team. So I don't want to dog the part-timers as a previous part-timer myself.
But another key issue too is that I just thought about is having a realtor that works well with other people. Because I have recently experienced other realtors that I guess for lack of better terms, I guess you could say they were full of themselves, and they were just so hard to work with. You couldn't talk to them to try to work through an issue. They're just they're full of themselves. They feel like they know everything, and they don't want to work with other people. So finding somebody that works well, because during a transaction, a realtor has to work with a few people. He needs to work with a title agency. He'll have to work with a lender, most likely another realtor during the transaction. So there's a whole slew of other people that are involved in a transaction, and you want a realtor that's going to have a really good attitude and that is not just easygoing, but can work through issues with other people. Good, because you don't want somebody who's just hard to get along with, because then I've seen deals go boom because a person who's hard to get along with, the other party just refuses to work with them anymore and then breaks it off. And I definitely would hate to see somebody lose a house because of their realtor being hard to get along with. So attitude is key.
I agree, because I think a lot of realtors, they get into a deal and all of a sudden the clause come out, and this is a negotiation. Just because you're under contract does not mean it's done. The process to buy a house takes like a month. And I can tell you offend the title company, you offend the other agent, you offend the seller or the buyer, there's so many ways to get out of a deal. And then you're gonna have to renegotiate probably once or twice in the deal. And trust me, if you have an agent who doesn't know how to work with other people, they will say, hey, listen, let's go ahead and not renegotiate. If the inspection comes in bad, they can say, okay, we're not going to renegotiate. We're not going to do anything for these people, that people, and we're let the deal fall apart, and we're going to agree because of the realtor that you have. And they'll be happy to have a smoother transaction with someone else.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's everything that covers a good realtor. So, with that, I say, This is the end of your Palm Beach or your
Yeah,
Palm
your
Beach.
real estate rundown.
Your
And-
real estate
And if
rundown.
you are looking for two good attitude, highly motivated, experienced realtors, call Chris or Derek. We're ready and willing to help you.